We're on to week 7. Week 7 is really the halfway point for the semester. So, and it's also a longer learning unit. We have until October 9th to complete, and that is related to the fact that we have a brief fall break from the 10th through the 13th. So you're actually going to get a couple of days off to rest, recuperate, and maybe even catch up on a few things for your other classes. Everybody's doing great in this course right now. So we're talking about non-communicable diseases. And you'll see just here on this picture, if you can read through, what are some of the risk factors for non-communicable diseases. Last week we focused on communicable diseases, specifically looking at an example of Mpox. But this time we're looking at non-communicable diseases. And we know that physical inactivity, high blood pressure, alcohol, tobacco, obesity, decreased vegetable and fruit intake can all be risk factors for non-communicable diseases. So you're watching this video. We're going to do a lot of things in this course. So the first thing that we're going to look at, of course, is a focus on non-communicable diseases. And a lot of the information we're going to get is from our text. But we're also going to discuss some of the different healthcare systems across the world. And we're going to look at specifically the health systems of the United Kingdom and Switzerland. And then we're going to compare that. And in fact, we're comparing 9 other countries as far as data on health systems to the U.S. So let's look at the communicable diseases. We're going to understand the global burden of the 4 major non-communicable diseases, the global work that needs to be done, especially in lower income countries. The countries that we look at, that we're looking at some of the data online that I'm going to review, speak to wealthier or higher income countries. But the text really helps us to focus on lower income countries and how they're impacted by non-communicable diseases. And then we're looking at 2 very different systems, but both of them are universal healthcare coverage for the residents, and that is Switzerland and the UK. So for readings in the chapter, it's chapter 14, but I really have focused on some specific areas of this chapter. So pages 407 to 420, and then you start at the end of page 427 to 434, and then finish with the last 2 pages. And we're going to look at 2, well, one is actually, it's a link. It's not an article. It's a link on the U.S. healthcare system and health outcomes as compared to 9 other countries. And you're going to also look at information from the World Health Organization about non-communicable disease, mortality, and morbidity. And you're going to take a quiz, healthcare costs around the world, and complete the discussion board with a reply. Because it's a longer period of time, I'm asking that you post by, still try to post by Friday, Saturday at the latest, and so that everybody can reply to one of your classmates. And I do ask, the last thing is a voluntary kind of thing, but it's a short-term, midterm evaluation survey. I ask you what works well and what doesn't work well in this course. That way I can perhaps change around things a little bit to benefit you, not just the next group of students. So you're watching this video. We've gone through the overview. I've told you about the exact readings in your text. Now let's look at a link that just came out in September. And let's take a few minutes to actually go through some of this data. So this is the portrait of what they consider the failing U.S. health system. I think you're going to find this information, this is objective data, kind of shocking. I know I continue to, every year I look at the update. This is from the Commonwealth Fund survey. And so we're looking at, here's the abstract, so you're probably going to want to read through some of these things, but they're comparing healthcare systems and the performance of health systems in 10 different countries, including the U.S. And it tells us who the top 3 countries are. You don't see the U.S., but you do see United Kingdom, and this is the most disturbing of all. The U.S. continues to be in a class by itself in the underperformance of its healthcare sector. It's dramatically lower. That's a frightening statement to hear. So read through this information as you can skim some of it, because what I really want you to see is the data. So this is ranking different countries, and you can see which countries are listed: Austria, Canada, France, Germany, Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, Switzerland, UK, and the US. But let's look at each individual area. They are assessing 5 different areas. So let's start off by as far as looking at overall performance of the health system. So higher performing are going to be on the top, and you're going to see some of the countries here, and lower performing are on the bottom. So this is a visual that also is disturbing. We see these countries doing pretty well as far as performance of their health systems, and we see the U.S. dramatically lower. So it goes on, healthcare spending. So we see through this information, you can tell the countries by the colors, of course, but you see the U.S. has been and continues to be the highest spending country of all. So we spend more on healthcare as a percentage of the GDP than any other of the 9 countries. But yet, what did you see? You saw that we're the lowest performing. So we spend the most money, but we're the lowest performing. So here's another one, performance compared to spending. So this kind of looks at both of those 2 things we just looked at, and you see the U.S. So we have higher healthcare spending and lower health system performance. And let's look at access of care. So this is how many of the country's residents have access to the ability to access and afford health care. Again, you're going to see the other countries, and we have the lowest ranking among these 10 wealthy countries, high-income countries. So access to care, what does that actually mean? That's when you're reading some of the information beneath here. Top performers for care delivery process. So again, what does that mean? And you're going to see this is one area that we do very well in. But you want to understand, what does it really mean when it talks about the health delivery process? So this is what they looked at. This is one that you're probably going to want to read about, but this is strong U.S. performance. It's the only area that is strong performance on the U.S. Now it goes into talking about administrative efficiency. That's another one of the areas. And it talks about how in the U.S. we have hurdles related to insurance, billing disputes, all kinds of things. And most of these other countries are universal health system. They don't have that. So you're going to see the U.S. Below. But again, when you want to know what do they mean by administrative efficiency, you just have to read below. And then, it's talking about, again, lower performing and equity. So this is fairness. Remember, it's fairness. It's not equalness, but it's fairness to our residents. So a healthcare equity, fairness in accessing healthcare. That's what it's saying. And it's showing the U.S. at the bottom. So read through some of this information, but that's the key points. Well, here's one more, health outcomes, I'm sorry. That's the fifth area that it goes over, health outcomes. And this is the one that I also find the most disturbing. Out of these 10 countries, Americans live the shortest lives and have the most avoidable deaths. So you're going to see the countries, and again, you're going to see the U.S. at the bottom. So health outcomes, it explains what it means by health outcomes, but this is morbidity and mortality. So that I'd like you to at least review through this section that I just reviewed with you. But look at it a little more closely, please. Then this is the World Health Organization as far as the data on non-communicable diseases, mortality and morbidity. When you click on, you're going to read the first two paragraphs. Then you're just going to go to the non-communicable disease fact sheet. So they keep this information up to date. So these are the two paragraphs that you're going to read, and then click on the non-communicable disease fact sheet. So I'm not asking you to go everywhere, but I want you to see that this is the World Health Organization that has posted and continues to post this data. Then the two things that you're going to do is you're going to look at two videos. And the first one is about the United Kingdom's single-payer National Health Service, and that's one of the countries that's included in this data. And then Switzerland's health insurance. So these are two videos. You can see how long it's going to take you. And then you're going to finish up by taking this quiz. So this quiz is not one of my quizzes. It's what does healthcare cost around the world? So when you click on, you're going to take the quiz. And after you take this quiz, you're going to see what the correct answers are. And you are going to show me that you completed it by completing this little quiz. And it's asking you about the quiz. What information did you find most astounding? What question did you really think was way off? You took a couple of questions. So you're going to complete this. So I know you completed the quiz, but it's kind of a fun quiz to do. It's not a difficult, you don't have to memorize the answers, but you can just give me a little verbal about what did you find out to be the most, important issue that you were unaware of on healthcare. Again, I should have started with our discussion board because, but you're going to start with the discussion board. So according to our text, high-income countries such as the U.S., the United Kingdom, and Switzerland have high rates of deaths from non-communicable disease of cancer. Yet we also read and know that we spend more on health and have the poorest health outcomes. We spend more on health care and have poorer health outcomes when compared to other high-income countries. And after watching these two videos, I have a couple questions. Do you think that a universal healthcare system is needed and would work in the U.S.? So it's kind of two parts, both needed and would work. If yes, which system that we just looked at? One of the two videos. You don't have to go back totally to the data. I don't want you to pick another country maybe that did real well because we've really focused on these two systems this week. But which of these two systems do you think would work best in the U.S. and why? So I want you to base your response on the videos primarily, but also that data that I just went through with you. And if you don't, why don't you think the U.S. needs a universal healthcare system? We can all have our different perspectives, but what is your rationale? Why do you think that we would not or do need a universal healthcare system? And specifically, if you don't think one of these two systems would work at all, what about these two systems would not work? Please reply to a classmate's post by the last day of this learning unit. And then I want you to go and have a wonderful, short but sweet, I'm sure, fall break, and enjoy the fall foliage and everything that that will bring you rest and relaxation. Have a great week, longer than 1 week. Have a great learning unit. Thanks.